So what is life? It seems like a pretty simple question, right? But according to physicist Sara Imari Walker, in her book Life as No One Knows It, science has been looking at this all wrong. And to really get it, she says, we have to start by embracing a really startling paradox. Our journey into this really kicks off with a puzzle. Picture this. It's a chemistry conference back in 2012. A professor, Andrew Ellington, gets up to talk about the origin of life. And his very first slide, well, it makes a claim so shocking, it basically challenges our fundamental perception of reality. That was it. That was the whole slide, just life does not exist. And look, this wasn't some philosophical debate. This was a chemist arguing that if you take any living thing and you break it down, all the way down to its atoms and molecules, you're never going to find that one magic moment where non-living stuff suddenly becomes alive. And yet, here you are. You're watching this, you're breathing, you're thinking, you're undeniably alive. And that's the conflict, isn't it? It's this huge clash between our most gut-level personal experience and what hard science seems to be telling us. So how on earth do we solve this? Well, to unravel this paradox, we first have to figure out why scientists have had such a hard time just defining life. As you're about to see, pretty much every attempt they've made completely falls apart as soon as you look at it closely. Let's start with a really popular one, the one NASA often uses. It says life is a self-sustaining chemical system capable of Darwinian evolution. I mean, it sounds pretty official, pretty solid, right? But let's kick the tires a bit and see what happens. Okay, first up, parasites. Think about something like the zombie ant fungus. It's an incredible, complex life form, for sure. But is it self-sustaining? No way. It absolutely needs its ant host to survive and reproduce. So by this definition, it's technically not alive. Or how about worker bees? They're sterile. As individuals, they're not capable of Darwinian evolution. So, are they not alive? Of course they are. This is getting weird. And the problem gets even more personal. Yep, by this logic, your grandmother, or anyone who's past the age of reproduction, isn't technically alive. And there you have it, the fundamental problem. All our definitions keep excluding things that we know deep in our bones are alive. You know, it's gotten so tricky that a lot of scientists just fall back on that famous line from a Supreme Court justice talking about something else entirely. I'll know it when I see it. And while that's a funny line, it points to a huge problem. It means our understanding of life is subjective, like trying to define art, not objective, like a law of physics. So what if the problem isn't with the definitions? What if the problem is with the thing we're trying to define? Walker proposes a radical idea that life isn't a property of matter, it's a property of information. And to get a feel for what that means, let's just try a little experiment right now. I am about to demonstrate a fundamental principle that Walker says is at the very core of what life is. It's super simple, but it reveals something really profound about cause and effect in our universe. Get ready, the instruction is right on the next slide. You just did it, didn't you? Or, hey, at the very least, you thought about it. Now just stop and think about what actually happened. My thoughts were turned into abstract symbols on a screen. They traveled across who knows how much space and time to get to you, and then they caused a physical action, your finger moving, your brain firing. Abstract information had a direct, causal impact on the physical world. This, Walker argues, is what life does. So, this insight completely reframes the whole problem. We can stop asking, what is life? Which is really just a question about description, and we can start asking a much, much bigger question. Why is life? A question about cause and even purpose in the universe. Look at it this way. On the left, you have accretion. It's how planets form. Gravity just pulls stuff together. It happens everywhere. No memory, no knowledge required. But on the right, you have something that seems to only happen here on Earth, what Walker calls anti-accretion. We launch rockets away from the planet, not because of some new force, but because of our accumulated knowledge of gravity. And that is the crucial difference between living systems and other complex things. A hurricane on Jupiter has no memory of the hurricane that came before it, but our cities, our technology, our very bodies, we are the physical result of billions of years of history. Life is matter that remembers. And this brings us to a completely new and frankly mind-bending way of seeing life's role in the cosmos. It suggests that life isn't just something that happens in the universe. It might be something the universe does. Think about it like this. If you found a screwdriver just sitting there on Mars, would you consider it evidence of life? Yes, absolutely. But why? Because you know intuitively that a screwdriver can't just randomly assemble itself out of Martian dust. It requires this long, long chain of cause and effect, of information, of history, of knowledge to even exist. This reveals a fundamental problem that the universe has. The number of possible things, molecules, objects, you name it, is practically infinite. The universe just doesn't have enough time or matter to make all of it. So something has to select what actually gets to exist from this vast sea of what could exist. And this is where Darwin's view of the world is so different from the old clockwork universe of physics. Physics gives us fixed laws, but evolution gives us, as Darwin so beautifully put it, endless forms most beautiful and most wonderful. It's a creative process, constantly making new things. And that leaves us with this final perspective-shattering question. What if life isn't a category of objects, not a thing we need to define at all? What if life is the physical process the universe uses to explore possibilities and decide what gets to become real? In this view, life isn't just a passenger in the cosmos. Life is how the universe creates,